so some of the big themes for Dynamics that I'm going to be kind of covering in this session is kind of just related around a lot of the Teams collaboration features. So a lot of the O365 integration with Dynamics CRM has been very impactful. So a lot of these features are in preview. Some of them you can be getting in some of your test or sandbox environments if you need preview features. So I'll be covering some of the basics. So one of them is that you can now do from within Dynamics CRM, you can have the Teams caller and dialer embedded inside of your forms. And so it's a flyout window on the right. So you can make a phone call directly from Dynamics using Teams to wherever you need externally if you have your telephony enabled. So that's really cool. And it also will capture transcript information, note information, and so there's a lot of cool opportunities here related to just the Microsoft's continued focus and approach towards Teams, O365, and Dynamics and Power Apps integrations, and how all these applications need and should talk to each other from a collaboration standpoint to kind of be able to offer that kind of seamless and holistic experience from an end user. And I'll touch a little bit more on that. The other, go back real quick, is the other kind of cool thing with the not only related to the Microsoft Dialer from within Dynamics is that Dynamics is going and Teams is going to be offering a simple call pop feature that you can have embedded within Dynamics. So if you have Dynamics open in a web browser and someone calls you and you have telephony and voice enabled, you can get a call pop up from that browser window for that specific customer. So that's really cool because it makes it to where a lot of customers want a simple call pop feature without having to go through an entire telephony takeover, right? That a lot of the other kind of larger players like contact centers kind of offer. So there is kind of like a simple middle ground. So you don't need to do a full takeover to be able to have some call pop features and functionalities. You can have a simple version that will come baked into Dynamics out of the box. The next up, this one's really cool as well, is, within Dynamics, you can always create appointments and have those appointments sync into your Outlook calendar, right? For your specific customer that appointment's tied to, as far as a record. In this case, if it was tied to this opportunity record inside of Dynamics, that'll go and, tied to the contact, their calendar as well as yours. The upgraded version that we knew that this is kind of coming for a while is that eventually people are going to be using Teams meetings. And so in preview, you'll be able to create Teams meetings directly from Dynamics, from the timeline, and be able to have meetings associated to this specific record inside of Dynamics. And so what that offers you is that you can not only have a Teams meeting tied to a specific team, but you can have it tied to a specific record. And so some of the additional features that you can get is that you can see record data from your Teams meeting related to that record inside of Dynamics. And so here you can see, I can see my business phone, some basic contact information. You get access to your timeline, so you can create notes, activities, tasks, appointments, phone calls, whatever you want directly from your summary and meeting notes from your Microsoft Teams meeting without having to be inside of Dynamics. And then some additional functionalities and features is that you can also, in that second screenshot, it's a little bit harder to see, but where I have the probability highlighted is that you can edit this data from Microsoft Teams and have it sync back into Dynamics. And so a lot of the things you can see with what Microsoft is doing with Teams and Dynamics is that you can do most of what you want to do inside of Teams from within Dynamics, and then you can also be interacting with Dynamics from within Teams. And so those two apps are becoming more and more seamlessly tied together as far as it's just kind of a preference as far as how the users are interacting with that data, what's their use case, and kind of where do you want to have your users be doing their work. So I think that's a really big feature. And next up, you could also, this one's kind of just a bigger Teams meeting screenshot. You can see that you also get the transcript information that you can also have tied not only to this Teams meeting, but it's also being referenced and tied to that record inside of Dynamics. So Next up, I talked about this one in the last Tech Insider update, just kind of related to the official name is the Enhanced Teams Collaboration Features inside of Dynamics, where you can have Dynamics chats linked to records inside of CRM. So this is just really cool. This is in preview. We've been demoing it with a lot of prospective customers and existing customers. And even in preview, it's been working really well. And so you can have chat pop-ups. You can link specific conversations. So you could have multiple conversations, like you see here is on this case record. I have 3 conversations. I have 2 related to bike issues, and then another one where it's a bike issues with an engineer. So you can have one-to-many conversations associated to this record inside of CRM. And anybody that has access to this record in CRM can join and participate in those linked conversations. They're not tied to security. Whereas, in the traditional sense, if you want to bring somebody into a Teams conversation, you go find them and you find the conversation and you add them to it. So that's really nifty. On top of, you can, in the traditional sense that you could even do this, even without this preview features, you can link Teams channels to records inside of CRM. So if you aren't necessarily, if your processes aren't set up to be that granular, the linked conversations is a great alternative to be able to kind of bridge the gap. And so there's just lots of collaboration potential with Dynamics teams, and this is kind of what a lot of people have been clamoring for and what a lot of people are getting excited about. And here, just to recap, as far as some of the different applications inside of Dynamics and Power Apps, I'll just kind of go down the list. You got sales, marketing, field service, customer service, project operations, customer voice, customer insights, sales insights, service insights, Power Apps, model driven, and Canvas apps, related Power Apps, and portals. So there's quite a bit that kind of falls underneath this umbrella. And there's a lot of different tools that can be used to solve whatever unique business and use cases that you have.